Content warning, y'all. We have lots of fun making this podcast, but remember, we watch a lot of R-rated films, use language that reflects that, and joke about heavy topics to create levity around these themes. If that doesn't feel safe or could be triggering, please take care of yourself. We want you to have fun listening too. This also means we might not be suitable for children. Oh yeah, and we spoil the end of all the movies we pod about. Thanks for listening.
Second annual Doc-Oc-Shock-Rocktober. Hollerween. Stream along, Spook-a-thon.
Well, there you have it.
Freak.
That would have been great if we recorded the whole episode. Not
That would have been so cool.
if we recorded the whole episode not recording.
Now I have something else to be bummed about
I'm sorry.
that we didn't not record.
Fuck. So great. Yeah.
So freaky.
Wow.
Yeah, this was a bummer too.
I did not expect what I got,
No.
and I did not know anything. I'm just going to say, if your husband kills your child and blinds your other child, don't stay. You know, don't stick it out just for the kid. If you hate them. Also, how is he not in jail? That's the thing I don't understand. How did he not get
Well, he's
in
a white
jail?
man.
Yeah, but was the other driver also a white man? Because then it's just like, who's whiter, you know?
Well, there was no collision.
Well, the tree.
The tree is 100% on death row.
She wants to be a tree, she can be a tree.
One or both of them should be, well, the whole family should be in counseling. They should probably do couples counseling.
No, that's horrible.
If they want to stay together. And at the very least, they should have another child to replace the one they lost.
No, you're right. No, they should have started with another
Always
child.
works.
Yeah, it doesn't ever not work.
But, admittedly, they got distracted by inheriting a castle
Yeah, I mean,
in
that's fair.
Italy.
That's fair.
So you get a little bit of that's kind of a Dracula-esque thing.
Yeah, I like how big the castle is for how there's only 4 rooms.
Yeah, right.
The castle has 143 rooms or whatever,
Right.
and we see like 3 of them.
Yeah. Do the stairs count as a room?
We see about 3 of those.
So we've got Combs, we've got Barbara
Crampton.
Crampon.
Maybe a
Crumbum.
crampon. Oh my god.
Who are both great actors. Typically.
The dialogue in this wasn't great. I'm going to say, though, Jeffrey Combs ate pussy in this movie.
That's true.
And that was hot.
He paid for it, too.
Yeah.
For the privilege.
Jeffrey Combs said, sex work is real work. Pay sex workers. Nom, nom, nom. That pussy's so good. That's what direct quote.
I believe that's on the movie poster. I also didn't know this was A, said in Italy, B, like, clearly like a joint production. Like half the...
For real.
half or more of the
Yeah.
crew seem to be... And cast.
Yeah.
Are Italian. Which at first made me more hopeful. And then I'm like, well, let's see. The standards are not... Just because I know of a few Italian horror movies and giallos that are interesting doesn't mean that they're all that good.
What?
Although I like the guy that played the main cop or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
He was fine.
ACAB, but he was pretty good.
100%.
I liked his monobrow.
Yeah.
And that sounds like I'm making fun. I did. I liked it. I thought it was pretty hot, honestly. I was like, this dude fucks, I guess. He also fucks prostitutes, and he's cool with it. So
And,
has a kid with him.
is, a stand-up sticks around to be a dad.
Yeah. He was
So-
like, that's my kid. And I'm taking him to the funeral of the guy that I think ate her titty off.
Ooh.
I do.
Sorry. You got me with that one. Pretty fucked up.
I know. That guy killed our mommy.
Okay, so, to just make explicit the things we've referenced,
Mm-hmm.
Combs and Crampton are a couple who have a child who's blind.
Mm-hmm.
She was blinded because Combs was driving the two children home or whatever. Who knows where they're, whatever. But he was an alcoholic also, and he was drunk driving with the children in the car, and crashed. That the youngest child died. And
That was such a good
the
scene.
elder got just a face full of windshield.
She got just like all the glass.
Her eyeballs
from
were replaced with glass.
all of the glass from the windshield went directly into her
It
eyes.
was like a straight line across the.
Jeffrey Combs walked away without
Right.
a scratch, which I hate to say it is pretty accurate for drunk people getting in car accidents.
It's true.
And
'cause you stay
his
loose,
kid, who was apparently unbuckled at the time,
I mean, this was before
just went
1995. This was before
blind.
seatbelts were
This is
mandatory.
not 1985.
I said 95.
Oh, I thought you said 85. You'll find out when you play it back and listen and say, shit.
I meant to say 95.
And the kid just like goes somewhere. And I like that the kid's
Oh yeah, right.
on the opposite side and he crashes into a tree and somehow the kid flies out the other window and like dies on the road or
He's
something.
ahead of the car. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't see him. You just
Yeah.
Combs gets out of the wreckage, and then you hear crying somewhere in the distance.
know.
But he's walking ahead
This
of the
is
car.
what you hear. It sounds like what you would imagine a baby goat looking
Or
for
just
mama,
like tree
mama's
branches rubbing together and when it's slightly breezy.
Becky! JJ! 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 No! No!
Yeah. And then he says, Giuseppe! Or whatever the kid's name is. Oh, it's JJ, right?
So racist.
Why is it racist?
Giuseppe.
Yes! Everyone's name is like Giuseppe, Giuseppe, Giuseppapo.
Do you sound how here you racist are?
Yoda, I don't.
It's me. Yeah.
It's a me, back for another round of a
Oh,
testosterone.
Okay, so that happens,
That was
and it.
really not how you say that word at all. Testosterone? What did I think I was saying? Okay.
So we meet them on their way to the Overlook Hotel. I'm sorry, on the way to inherit their Italian castle because it turns out he thinks his aunt was a duchess
Mm-hmm.
and she has just
She was.
died. The opening scene is we see an old woman
Yeah.
torturing a cat by putting some
Milk.
bread and a moldy sausage onto a plate
Yeah.
and then going all the way across the castle
Mhm.
and then putting the food down and then letting the cat eat it. And then a hand reaches out from under a door to grab what's left. Right?
No. What happens is she goes downstairs. She sets the plate down. She has a whip in her hands. She opens the door.
That's right.
She goes in. She beats the shit out of whatever. We don't see who it is. She beats the shit out of someone. And then she closes the door. She starts being like, oh, my chest hurts. I'm having booby pains. It must be menopause. And then and then she leaves, shuts the door, and then she puts the plate underneath the door, and then it goes, nom, 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 and then it throws the plate out empty. And then she goes upstairs, and she has a heart attack in her bed. With the whip under the whip rolls under the bed, and then she has a heart attack and dies. And then a month goes by, and then her moldy corpse is on the bed, and then it's Castle Break! And then they're in the car on their way to the castle.
Yes.
And then they're like, how far is the castle? And the driver says, shut the fuck up.
The driver, who's the lawyer.
Yeah. He's like, please stop talking to me. I don't even care what you have to say. And they're like, man, this guy's fun. And then they go to the castle, and then they're like, how many rooms? And they say, more than you will show on camera.
And he said, here's my sister. She'll take care of you.
Right. He doesn't even mention that until much later.
What?
That they're sisters. Well, that he has a sister, and that it's the castle lady.
No, when he introduces her.
He does?
I think so. I could be wrong.
This is my sister Agnese. She will cook and clean the rooms for you.
Hello, I'm John Riley. This is my wife Susan.
Hi.
And our daughter Rebecca.
Your room is here. The girl is next door.
Grazie, signora.
She was great, though. I liked her a lot.
She was great. Sorry that she died.
She's maybe my favorite part of the movie.
She was pretty good. She's pretty good.
Agnese.
My favorite part, I'm not going to lie. I know that I'm, like, hornier than I have been in the past. But
You thought it wasn't possible.
But I think my favorite part was Jeffrey Combs eating the pussy and sucking a titty and then fucking a prostitute. And then
For 5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't last long, but for being drunk, for being absolutely smashed, I think he did an okay job.
Well, and for having not done it for at least 9 months.
Yeah, at least. He was pretty, yeah. And
yeah, kudos, I guess.
Yeah. Here's what I appreciate. Is that, okay.
Well, I mostly just appreciated that he didn't try to... He wasn't abusive to her.
Correct.
And he didn't try to short her or get out of paying her or anything. He was all...
He paid her extra.
Yeah. So,
and then she was like, no, I can't accept this. And he's like, fuck off. Don't argue with me. Take what I've paid you and get out of here. Which I appreciated. I appreciated that he was like, no, we're not haggling. I don't care how much I've given you. Just take it and go. I appreciated that because he didn't say...
Do you remember the line about...
Well, I appreciate it. I just want to say that. I appreciate it because it wasn't an implication that he was like it seemed like her being like, oh, wow, this is a lot. And him being like, what? No, just go.
Yeah.
I appreciate that because it wasn't him being like, I know, but I don't care. Like, oh, like he didn't say anything disparaging to her. He didn't say anything like disrespectful. He was just like, no, don't. He was like, literally like, please no, this is so uncomfortable for me. I just did something. I just cheated on my wife in our castle. So can you just like leave? And then he just passes out drunk. And like the next day he's not like, oh, I got short. Nothing like that. He's not regretful of like any of it. I like when she was like, you brought a prostitute here. And he was like, yeah, I was lonely. And I was like, oh, damn. Okay. Girl. And then at the end when they're like, you killed her. And he's like, no, but I fucked her. I was like, fuck yes.
Please, I have answered all your questions. And now I want you to get my daughter and my wife out of that castle now!
You don't give orders here. And you will answer questions until we are satisfied with your answers. Now, tell me again, why did you kill Silvana?
I didn't kill her, I fucked her, okay?
No, I know. Yeah, I know.
Because he was an anti-hero, basically. They were showing this flawed person.
Yeah.
But you weren't you didn't hate him. And I was like, all right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
He wasn't, he'd done wrong.
I do hate Crampton, though, because she's a frigid bitch.
But, God,
Don't
what
put
about those nipple stickers? I don't fucking know. All the IMDb.
Nip slips.
Yeah, all the IMDb trivia is this castle belonged to someone else, and then Barbara Crampton showed her titties in this movie. This is the third movie where Barbara Crampton showed her titties, where she stars with Jeffrey Combs. This is the... Barbara Crampton didn't get fully naked. She just showed her titties.
Even though I'm deeply entrenched in the horror community, that was not enough titties for me.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I wanted more titties.
Speaking of titties in this movie, boy, did they get eaten off.
Yep.
Wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, I was very shocked by that. Something that I think... Okay.
Effective as being shocking.
Very shocking. He eats her ear off, he eats her nibbly bit off, and then he eats her cunnilingus off.
Sorry, nibbly bit?
Yeah, one of her nib knobs. He eats her nib knob off, he eats her ear off, and then he eats her cunnilingus off.
For the viewers at home, the listeners at home who are not viewing, what the fuck is it?
Nippy knob. There's just a mouthy there, a mouth mark there. I mean, her boob is technically still alive or existing.
It's just on the beep bop.
I think viewers at home who've listened and can't see us, tell me what you thought when I said nipply bop. You knew what I meant, didn't you?
Press 1 for...
Press 1 for 2. Press 2 for 3. And press 3 for...
Yeah, now what? Where are you going?
For skip to the end of the episode.
You stole from me, which I stole from PFT.
That's fair.
Have mercy.
Oh, Lord.
So it turns out... No one cares. He thinks he's sees and or hears the dead baby JJ. What?
I don't know. It's so funny to me. The dead baby JJ.
Dada?
I like when he's like, I heard him cry.
Yeah.
I really was trying to do my best Jeffrey Combs impression during the movie, and you seemed wholly unimpressed. So
I wasn't wholly unimpressed. I appreciated it.
Thank you for saying that.
He does have a specific pout.
Oh my God, yeah. I think I was doing Brunt, though. I think it's easiest for me to do Brunt, so I can understand if it... Anyway, go ahead. You were talking about the movie.
Oh, I was going to say, remember the line about what is it? He gets fired from his professor job because he wasn't politically
correct? You weren't PC or something. Yeah, you weren't politically correct.
Was he a professor or a writer, like a journalist or something?
Oh, I think he was I don't know. I think a professor.
His spirit, his ghost, was here, Susan. Now, Agnesi says that this castle is haunted.
It's your conscience, John. You are just in such serious denial. You don't even realize it.
No. This is different.
No, it's always the same. It's never your fault. Your father was responsible for your drinking problem. The university fired you because you were politically incorrect. And now you're trying to use JJ's ghost.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. It's not JJ's ghost. It's you, John. It's you. You were the one who was driving that car, drunk.
You got fired because you weren't politically correct. I was like, what does that mean? That's hilarious, though.
It's commentary.
I know.
For the time.
I know. Remember when politically correct was, people still say it every now and then, but usually boomers. Usually when they're saying
it's very 90s.
Transphobic.
Yeah. Now people say woke.
It's true. Yeah. Well, that's what I said.
PC is still in the
Well, yeah,
discourse.
I said usually boomers are the ones that say it.
Fair enough. But it got used in the same way where it's like you're accusing someone of
right having an opinion,
trying to acknowledge structural inequities.
Yeah, right.
Don't say gay. Anyway.
Gay. I said it. I said it.
Groomer. Yeah, whatever. I mean, like, it's kind of interesting, but also I don't care that, like, oh, it wasn't uncle. It wasn't your uncle. It was your dad who.
Your dad, yeah, which means that Giuseppe or whatever was his half brother.
Half brother, yes. Half
cousin? Was his like
second
half
brother, half removed.
Half brother cousin or something, right? Oh shit. Because his aunt, like his dad and his aunt had Giuseppe. And his dad left the aunt for her sister, which was Jeffrey Combs' mama.
Oh, right. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. So they're like brother cousins. That's hot.
Yeah.
But here's something that it took me a minute.
What's the matter?
What's the matter,
Half
brother
bro.
cousin?
I'm stuck in this castle.
Oh my god. These stairs are so long. Oh my god, brother cousin. Help.
But I like the sort of...
that doesn't work. Yes, it does. It works.
I like the sort of Madame Butterfly of... She's taking revenge on the guy who left her by...
Yeah, by cutting off the penis of her...
Oh, is that what was supposed to have happened?
His penis
what
was
happened
cut
was?
off. His tongue was cut out.
Oh.
His lips were cut off.
What? Mm-hmm. This was not explicit to me.
I figured it out because he was like and was pointing into his mouth and like not able to talk.
Okay.
So I assumed that meant his tongue was gone. He didn't have lips, and he had like a cut on his face, like so I assumed his lips were cut off, and he didn't have a penis. So
yeah, I wasn't sure what
it was just
supposed to be.
There was like a straight line there.
Okay.
It was just no lips, no penis. No lips, no penis. No lips, no penis.
Also, no nips.
No nips?
For
yeah.
his victims.
Well, only one missing nip. One nip, no penis. One nip, no penis. It was, okay, I'm not saying that I liked this because obviously it was like non-consensual and obviously, but I thought it was interesting that he, like, it reminded me a little bit of Basket Case.
Okay. Yeah.
Where he saw Jeffrey Combs, like, eating pussy, sucking titty.
Right. He really seems to be imitating.
And he was trying to do that too.
Right.
But like, and again, this is not saying like it makes it okay because it was not consensual. No. But he wasn't like, there was an implication of like a lack of understanding that she didn't enjoy it. Like him not understanding, like there being
it's
a
kind
lack
of a
of
Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
For
sure. Yeah. Which I
just sort of assume.
Which I appreciated.
Having sex with a man is like.
Right. I feel like what I appreciated about it though was that it didn't take away from it being scary. Like him trying to do this and not understanding that it didn't feel good almost made it more scary. You know, like him not understanding that like this wasn't. Like, it's like him not understanding that, like, part of what Jeffrey Combs was doing was trying to please her, trying to make her feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And so the castle freak, Giuseppe, is trying to do this. I don't remember what his name is. Giorgio? Okay. Giuseppe's better. Is trying to do this.
Say Luigi then. Mario.
Oh, we should do the game again where you try to make me guess everyone's name.
It's too late. And also, I don't remember anybody's name besides.
How is it too late? I only know, I've said Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton. I know that his name was like.
I don't remember their names.
Bill. And her name was like.
Oh, yeah. I don't even remember the daughter's name.
And the daughter's name was Daughter. Spelled Dotter.
That's how you'd spell it in Icelandic, I think.
Really? So I want to tell the story about.
I remember the castle lady's name, the sister of the lawyer.
As Agnes?
Agnese.
Agnese. Okay. I knew it was something like Agnes.
Yeah.
So
That's what helped me remember.
I used to, this is like so terrible, but there was this girl that used to work, like when I worked at a bank in the back end when I was doing like data entry shit.
Sexy.
Huh?
Sexy.
There was this
Back in banking.
there was this girl that was like an intern for like IT or something. And I loved her because she was so fucking weird. She was like very, like she was like tall and really thin and had like really long black hair that she would always have in her face. So this is like going to seem so mean. I would say this all behind her back, not to her face. And it was all said lovingly. I always said that she was my ghost daughter. And I would say, I was like, did you see that she just walked through the wall then? And I would make jokes that she was actually dead. And I was like, no, she's my daughter. And like, I would like make the joke that she had died, but she was also my daughter. And that like, I would just like constantly try to make my coworkers laugh and be like, I was like, yeah, I just watched her and she just walked right through the door. She didn't even. And everyone was like, you're so mean. I'm like, how is this?
A bunch of hair in the toilet?
So, but I would call her, I was like, she's my daughter, but I would spell it Dotter. I'd be like, my daughter's here.
Why?
I don't know, because I thought it was funny. Daughter. Because I think it's funny to pronounce it not daughter, but daughter.
Ghost.her.
Anyway, if you're out there and you're listening, girl, that used to get
how would she know?
Laughter. I don't know. I think she hated me. Like she saw me one time. I was coming out of Schnucks and she was going into Schnucks, and the look on her face, I was like, oh, you know me. You know who I am, and you hate me.
Well, that's just.
I just wish that
she probably heard everything you were saying.
I know. She probably has supersonic hearing, but I
just mean somebody told her.
I think she was like, I don't know. I think she had like fibromyalgia or something because she was like on pain meds.
Oh, Jesus.
But like, she was in pain a lot. So she was like, and she couldn't really take the meds because they like got her super stoned, but she would take them sometimes anyway. And like watching her walk through doorway, she would just be like,
oh, Jesus. I can't imagine.
And it was like, I was like, girl, just go fucking home. Like, you're not, I know that you're just an intern, but you're not helping anyone. If a door frame is amazing you right now, you need to lay down. Like, it's fine. She only worked there for like 6 months to a year or something like that. I missed her.
Is that all?
She was gone. Yeah. Not a whole lot. Anyway, I just wanted to, the castle freak daughter person, with her long hair. She was only in 4 things. She was in Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, which I probably had seen.
Was she a regular?
No, she was in 2 episodes. But I watched like that whole thing. Of course I watched that.
Get her name.
And then I watched, she was in Living Color. I didn't see that. I never saw that. 1 episode of that. And then there was something else that she was in. And it was also something. And then I don't know. And then there was one other thing that I also had watched, but I don't remember what it is. So I probably have seen her in almost everything she's ever been in.
Jessica Dollarhide.
Oh, Dollarhide. That's right.
Major Dad.
Major Dad. Yeah. She was in an episode of Major Dad.
Wow.
So I don't remember her and Dr. Quinn, and I don't remember her in Major Dad, but I did watch those TV shows. Fucking Gerald McCraney. Anyway.
Mr. Delta Bird.
It ends with Jeffrey Combs finding out that the castle freak is actually his castle cousin brother. And then he breaks out of jail and he goes after castle brother cousin freak. And he jumps off a roof. No, because there's a point where the mom says, I wish you'd have died instead of JJ. So Jeffrey Combs runs up to the roof of the castle and tries to jump off, but doesn't.
Coward.
So then at the end, he chains himself to Castle Freak and jumps off and kills himself.
Yeah, right.
To save his family, which is really fucked up in my opinion. And I did not like that ending. I don't really agree with that suicide is painless when you're dying for your wife and daughter.
It's also unnecessary.
It's very unnecessary.
Just kick the dude off the roof.
Right, literally. I mean, like, also, like, I don't know. Just do something other than that. And, like, okay, so he's not dying
it
from
makes
me
sense.
bashing him in the head repeatedly.
It's as healthy as anything else that's happening in this family.
Well, like, he's not dying from me bashing him in the head, but you think jumping off a building is going to magically kill him? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Let's not. If he's superhuman, he's superhuman. You don't need to kill yourself to try to kill him.
Oh, yeah, this was my other complaint is how does he have any strength?
Yeah,
Sergio.
well, because he eats a cat, so I think that, well, he, like, sucks a cat's blood or something.
Are cats like his spinach?
I don't know. Yeah, honestly. Yeah. Honestly, yeah, I don't know how he's alive.
Right.
And it doesn't make a lot of sense, but he is a little freak, so the name is apropos.
Well, and then I was under the impression... Okay.
Yeah, it's just we've only been talking. We haven't even been talking for half an hour.
Are you serious?
I know. I was like, oh my God.
I knew that was going to happen since we went so long on the other one.
I know.
Fucking lost what I was going to say.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right. Jonathan Fuller is the person who played the freak, Giorgio.
Yeah, I tried to look him up because I was like, he looked...
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, I was like, I mean,
think
Brian
that's 'cause
Fuller,
it's,
you know.
Brian Fuller and Jonathan Frakes.
Okay.
There's no way this person hasn't been in this Star Trek somewhere.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna say, like, I really, okay, I know, what?
He's in A Day Without a Mexican, which I've seen.
I know that I keep harping on this, but honestly, seeing Jeffrey Combs do Sexy Sex was really impressive to me. Like, I don't feel like I've ever seen him do something sexual in anything.
Kind of.
So that was really...
I really had mixed feelings about that, honestly.
That's fair and understandable. But I liked... Okay, I'm going to say it. I like that he ate pussy. I feel like that doesn't really happen.
And this is the thing.
In movies especially. And, like, it wasn't, like, gross or something. Like, you just see
Right.
that he's down there. And he's, like... He ate her pussy probably longer than he actually fucked her.
Yeah.
So that was pretty hot.
I mean, yeah. I feel like in the 70s and 80s, that was
Right.
not weird.
Cunnilinguous. Yeah. It was pretty cool. And especially
Again, it's
for,
one of
like...
those things where we went backwards.
True. And, like, I think it's one of those things where, like, it wasn't done... I don't know. I mean, I guess, honestly, I can't say how it was intended in 1995 or something, but, like, it didn't feel like it was meant to be shocking.
Oh, no.
You know, it just felt like it was happening naturally. Like, he was having fun after a long time of, you know, not having fun. I mean,
Right.
Granted, he does go on a bender, and that's when he has sex with a prostitute, so it's not just like, he's having fun. He's just, like, having fun.
He's having a hot girl's summer.
But I did appreciate the fact that he got drunk and went out, slept with a prostitute, and then he woke up the next day, and they didn't show him, like, spiraling or anything. He wasn't like, oh, I have to drink more. Oh, I have to do this.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary. You know, he was like, yep, I had a night where I did some shit, and then he's just going back to life as normal. And I actually appreciated that because I was like, yeah, I feel like that never happened. Like, people aren't allowed to make mistakes or to do something, like, in movies. Like, people don't just make mistakes. And he owns up to it. Like, he doesn't ever lie about it or act like it didn't happen. He's like, okay, yeah, it happened. What the fuck do you want me to do?
No, it's really...
And I appreciated that about his character overall, you know.
Yeah, agree.
Is that there's nothing. Although it's super weird, the part where he's saying that he heard JJ cry.
Uh-huh.
And he's trying to tell that to Barbara Crampton. And she's like, it's just your, you know, guilt. You know, it's not really, you're not actually hearing anything. It's just your guilt. And she's like, you miss him and stuff like that. And then they hug, and then he tries to kiss her, and she's like, Or she says, you have to admit, before he kisses her, before they hug, she's like, it's your guilt. You have to admit that he's dead. You know, you have to just let go, blah, 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 blah. And then he hugs her, and then, or she hugs him, and then he tries to kiss her, and she says, stop acting like a child, which I thought that was interesting because I feel like that's not at all, does not make sense to anything that's happening. And he goes, he's like, I'm not. He's like, and I haven't, I know that he's dead because I remember, every single day.
Right.
Which was a very weird scene to me, but also interesting because I'm like, this, to me, is such a great example of two people completely on different wavelengths. Right. She's understanding, she's not even paying attention to him. She doesn't know what he's doing. She's not listening. She's nothing. She's making assumptions about his behavior. She's making all kinds of things. And he's literally I am trying to have a conversation with you. Ooh, you know. And I was like, oh, this is actually because it was so weird because her response to him and his response to her, I was like, it's like they're not even talking to each other. And then I'm like, right, yeah, because they're not.
Right.
Joy,
and people do that.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Right. And I think it was a really good example of when a relationship is in turmoil, when a relationship is fucked up. Two people are having completely different conversations, and sometimes they don't even realize it, you know. But I thought it was, I don't know. I think I didn't like how much her character was stupid and oblivious.
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate that.
It's not a character.
Right. Because I think it would be fine if, you presented, her character and his character as, being, not having the same conversations. But she acted the same way to her daughter.
Yeah.
She was like, I'm your friend. And her daughter's like, no, my friends would believe me. And she's like,
oh, yeah.
I'm going to get water for you. And she just says something and it's just completely ignoring her daughter. And she's just like, oh my God, what the fuck? You know, I'm your friend. And it's just like, oh my God.
Mom, it's my handicap. It's my challenge. I have to deal with it myself.
I know you do, sweetie. I know you do. I'm sorry. You don't have any friends here.
A friend would believe me. Mom, you've got to listen to me. There's somebody else in the castle.
Enough of this, okay? Come on. Put your glasses on. Let's go to lunch. Now, sweetie, I want you to know that I am your friend. And I'll always be your friend. And I'll always take care of you. Mom. And I think you're just projecting because you want to have somebody else here with you.
She's less of a character than the daughter, and the daughter is barely
I know.
the
The daughter's there to be in her bra for way too much.
Yeah.
For being 15 or whatever.
Yeah. Agree.
Didn't want to see that. I couldn't find anything to prove my assumption.
Your theory that
it was filmed 10 years prior or whatever. But it was filmed in a real castle.
Yeah.
And there was a family reunion for the person that owned the castle that happened. And they had to quickly clean up all of the blood from the castle so that the family reunion could happen over the weekend. They had to really, they had to do a fast cleanup.
Break out the purple stuff.
Right, yeah. Oh my God. It's wild to see. I don't know. I think we said this in the pre-show. Jeffrey Combs being in horror is really exciting because I didn't realize how much he's actually in it. And I wish he was in more stuff. I wish he was in a lot more stuff because I feel like he has such a good, and I don't know. I mean, I think
I don't really know what he's been doing since
I know.
Enterprise.
Well, he was in the 4400. I know that.
Oh, okay.
The original. I don't know how the remake is doing, but he was in the original 4400. Not as a regular, but he was in that. But yeah, I don't know what he's been doing. I don't know what he's been up to. I know he's on Twitter and he likes telling people off on Twitter.
Oh, nice.
In a good way. But yeah, what?
Trying to figure out what I'm hearing.
Damn myself.
So I believe I referenced this in the lobby that I listened to a reading of the Lovecraft story that I believed this was used as source material, but then there was no reference in the credits.
It said in the trivia that it's like very loosely based on
It is very loosely.
Outsider?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't remember what it's called.
Okay. Yeah, it said it was like very, it was like, yeah. So I think that might just be like, oh, yeah. I don't know.
But who decided that?
Yeah, right.
I mean,
exactly.
it's not in the credits, so I don't know.
Right, yeah. That's a good point.
I mean, that story, to spoil it, again, very short.
I was curious, yeah.
It's first person of a person who is
Love first person.
knows only darkness,
Mm-hmm.
and then one day they find that they can, you know, they don't know how long they've been alive or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day they figure out, I forget what happens, but they figure out that they can leave. And so they do. And it's like they thought they were kept in a tower, but instead they're underground.
Oh, interesting.
Not really pertinent. It's just, I guess, just... Anyway, so they make it out into the world.
Making my way down.
And they come to, like another home that's a castle or something, but it's like full of people, like there's a party going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, I want to go, I need to talk to people or whatever. And, you know, they climb in through the window and everybody is freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, I don't know what, I assumed this was normal, or I don't know what was wrong. There must be something. It's really very, I'm serious in that it's like first time doing creative writing, Twilight Zone level twist at the end where it's like, there must have been something horrible in the room because everybody went pale and ran away. And then I saw a piece of shiny glass and I saw the horrible creature that they must have seen.
It was me.
Right.
It's a metaphor for being ugly. That's wild. That's crazy.
Picked a booger.
I was laughing because of the look you gave me. I like when they... I wish that y'all could see Keith's hat. It's so funny to me, the way he wears his hat. And then when you go, while you're wearing your hat, he doesn't put it... when you give me that, like, little kid in the Christmas tree smile or whatever.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. No, not. I said smile, not scowl. When you're like
I know what
over the
little
shoulder.
kid in the Christmas tree.
over the shoulder, being like.
Okay.
What?
What do you want from me?
I want you to say more words so that I can say more words.
I just said a whole bunch of words. It's fucking your turn. Okay, we're going to take a break real quick. Be right back.
Yeah, I think I mean I do sort of have some, this reminded me of Basket Case in the sense that like it could have been a forgivable character or like not a forgivable character, but a relatable character, like
It's like a 2020 version of this?
I don't know if it's of this, but
Well, it's
it's a
about
movie called Castle Freak.
an Albanian castle with bloodthirsty creatures is inherited by a young woman.
Interesting.
Sorry.
You're fine.
That's all.
Okay.
More like this. A movie called Uncle Peckerhead.
What did I say? What did I say instead of... Oh, nap Pecker instead of nitpicky.
Oh, yeah.
Nat Pecker. So like Giuseppe could have been like not a relatable, but a like
Giorgio?
sure, like not relatable. It's not relatable or forgivable, but like sympathetic. There we go. A sympathetic character. Because he is tortured and abused, you know.
Nope.
And
the victim
then,
is the monster.
Exactly. So like that's always like a problem that I have with stuff, which is like relates back to like ableism and things like and feeds into things like ugly laws and stuff like that.
Ugly laws?
Yes, ugly laws. So ugly laws reference basically laws that made it illegal for people that didn't
To be ugly?
Basically. Like if you had a physical deformity, it was like illegal for you to be in public.
I see.
Because you didn't look normal.
Yeah.
So you couldn't be out in public. And these laws lasted until like I think like versions of these laws like I think the 90s when the ADA, like the American Disabilities Act was like part of that was like
Well, the ADA is from the 70s. I think.
It is? I thought it was the 90s. Okay, whatever. Yeah, but part of that is it was like working to undo those laws, I think, if I understand correctly.
I mean, it makes sense.
I was trying to read about the ugly laws, and it was I found a website that was so difficult to navigate. It has like a tree, sort of like, it has like one of those things where it like has, it branches off, like if you like, you click ugly laws, and then it gives you like a whole branch of like options to pick from.
Oh.
But there's no way to go back.
Oh, you're totally right. 1990.
Okay. That's what I thought. So, but I'm always willing, like, I'll be like, I think it was the 90s, and it'll be like, that happened in the 1890s, and I'm like, okay, yeah. So,
Well, I was completely wrong about the Equal Rights Amendment.
Yeah? What
well, just like I thought it was the 70s.
Uh-huh.
I mean, no, it dates back to its origins started in the like 20s.
Oh, wow.
Or teens or something.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Well, you know, with the original, like Seneca Falls and shit.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, like it plays into a lot of that sort of like disability is the bad thing, you know. And I think there's a lot of I don't really think people understand like the it's really why I don't really enjoy films like The Hills Have Eyes and things like that, where it's like the bad guy is so fucking ugly, you know. But I also don't like things like The Hunchback of Notre-Dame, where people are like, you know, like, oh, I feel so bad. It's like, stop. Like, don't do the thing. Like, I remember one time.
Man in the Iron Mask.
Yeah, like, I remember one time.
Phantom of the Opera.
My mom was saying, like, you know, because someone in our family, who I won't name, like, loves to make a big show. Like, if they see someone that's disabled, they just, like, lose it. And they were like, oh. They start crying and they're like, I just can't even cope. And then they need to be comforted because they've seen someone without legs. And my mom, and I was like, am I a bad person? Because like, I don't feel that way. And my mom's like, imagine being that person. They're like, do you know what it's like? They're like, that's normal for them. They don't have legs. That is their life. It's not abnormal for them. So to treat them like you're horrified by what you're seeing is actually really fucked up, you know? I mean, of course, my mom didn't word it that way. And I was like, oh, so, like, the problem isn't that people are disabled. Like, that's not the problem. Like, people have disabilities. People will always have disabilities, whether it's from birth or whether it's from, like, things that happen throughout life. There will always be disabilities. Okay.
Right.
The problem isn't disabilities. The problem is the way that society treats people with disabilities. Like, it has nothing to do with the disability itself. It's the reaction to the disability that's the problem. And that sort of like made me realize that. Like, I was like, oh, I'm not a bad person because I don't look at someone with a disability and I'm like, oh, I mean, God, I feel so bad for you. Like, I don't do that because it's like, it's insulting to them because they're
so brave.
Right, exactly. It's like it's their entire life. Like, if someone like looked at you and started crying because they were like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine what it would be like to have gray hair before I was 60. You'd be like, what the fuck? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, that's how stupid you look, you know? You look like you're being... And really what it is, I feel like that is seen as, like, someone that's so empathetic. But what it really is someone being like, I would hate to be that person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're crying, which is, like, super fucked up.
I mean, that's fine if you acknowledge that about yourself.
Right, yeah.
You know, like... But you need to move.
Right, you need to do some
That's
work.
the first step.
Yeah. Okay, is that first step? Great. Now let's work on you not doing that every time you see someone without fucking legs. You know.
Right.
It's like, and it's like, yeah. It's just it's infantilization mixed with ableism, mixed with like, I mean, you know, infantilization can be put in with ableism, but I mean, like, you're doing that too. Like, you're infantilizing people because they're disabled. Like. They're like, I remember, like Crispin Glover.
Fucking, yeah, go, sorry.
I can't remember what the movie's called. I can't remember what it's called. I've seen it. It was this movie written by this guy who, I think he had cerebral palsy. I think that's what it was. And he was nonverbal, but that was it. He didn't have any sort of like,
other disability?
Well, you know, like it was physical, but it affected his speech, so he couldn't talk.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't have any I'm trying to remember what it's called.
Like cognitive?
Yeah, he didn't have any cognitive disabilities. So he was perfectly like
cogent.
Yeah. And he was put in a home where they didn't know this. And they assumed that he did not have any, like, of his mental faculties. And so they treated him as such. And it completely traumatized him.
Weird.
And, you know, it was something where he was, like, spent the rest of his life basically, like, you know, recovering from spending so many years in this facility where they treated him like he was a child and like he didn't understand the hateful, awful things that they said and did to him. And he was abused and all of this shit. And like the movie that he made, like the movie that like he and Crispin kind of made it together, I believe.
Well, he basically wrote it, right?
He wrote it, yes. But
Crispin Glover,
Crispin Glover like directed it and, you know, produced it himself and all this stuff. And put it together, and he was like near death, and the film wasn't like they were still working on the film, and it wasn't until the film was finished and finally like was put out there, and he died. Like, and he was literally wait, he was like, I can't let go. Yeah, I can't let go. But it's something like that, like where people assume because you have some sort of physical disability that you must have a cognitive one as well. And it's really fucking weird. And even if you do have a cognitive disability, it doesn't mean that you deserve to be treated like shit. You know what I mean? Like, someone not understanding something isn't an excuse to be mean to them. Like, that's not an excuse. And it's also why I go really hard when people talk about, you know, oh, this person's stupid or whatever. It's like, this is like, I understand the knee-jerk reaction, but like stupidity and mocking people for a lack of intelligence is rooted in white supremacy. It's completely rooted in white supremacy. And when you're saying so-and-so stupid, this person is dumb, this person, what you're saying is I'm smarter and I'm better than these people.
But especially when, and I think this is what you're referring to, that being levied against things like racism.
Correct.
Or people being racist.
Right. You're so stupid because you're racist.
Yeah.
Please stop doing that.
Or you're ignorant.
Yeah, correct.
Which
some people are.
Really ignorance really shouldn't be an insult.
It's not. Yeah, right. Right. Someone being ignorant. There's lots of things that I'm ignorant to. It doesn't mean that I'm stupid.
Right.
It doesn't mean that I can't be educated about them. You know, but it's not like, oh, you know, this person. And that's why I say there's ignorance and then there's willful ignorance. Woo. We're a forever. It's really hard to say.
Wilford Brimley.
Wilford ignorance. But anyway, like that's sort of the main thing that I would say is negative about this movie is that it's like the scary thing is that it's, you know, like instead of dissecting the fact that like he was abused and he was tortured and he was created into this thing, you know, or created into, what am I saying? He was like morphed into someone who does bad things because that's all he saw. That's all he was ever around, you know? But he's still the bad guy. And he's actually not his mom.
It doesn't actually, it's unclear if he's like intending to kill anyone.
Correct, right.
It really just seems like he's horny.
Right, or he just wants...
And doesn't know how to, or just wants contact.
And like, it made me really sad when he sees the daughter and he realizes that she's blind and then he takes his mask off.
Oh, yeah.
Because she wouldn't see him. Like, he takes the sheet off his face because she's not going to see him and care what he looks like. And to me, I was like, that's
why I forgot he didn't have a mouth.
Right. Well, no, I mean...
It's covered.
No, his mouth was never covered.
All right, fine.
It was...
Whatever.
So, anyway... Yeah, that made me really sad because I'm like, this is proof that he knows that isn't normal.
I think that's the thing.
It gets so, you know, and there's not a comparison put between Jeffrey Combs and him in the sense of like, you know, even how Twins is like, you know, like there's that scene in Twins where
the chains fall on that guy?
No. What's his name? Why can't I think of his name?
Which guy?
The little one.
Danny DeVito?
Danny DeVito. All I could think of was Danny Elfman, and I was like, that is not correct. I was like, I don't even know
you're thinking of Batman Returns.
I was like, I don't even know if Danny's right. So I was scared to even say his first name.
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying, what if you're all the good and I'm all the bad stuff. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is like, you were literally given, like, he's like, I was given every single advantage in life and you were given none of them. He was like, you were discarded. You were like absolutely like completely put aside.
That is the best moment of the movie.
Right. And he's like, and here you are still, you know, he was like, you are not all of the bad things. Like, just because bad things happen to you doesn't mean you are those bad things, you know? And that's how I'm like, where's that comparison, you know?
Yeah,
because
I really feels like this movie was going for...
Also, I was really hoping, because they were brothers, I was really hoping that Jeffrey Combs played both parts.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't. So that was missed opportunity there.
Well, yeah, they probably just didn't have the budget to do all that editing.
That's fair. They're only in like one scene together, though. So they really could have done it. They could have gotten a double for that scene.
Well,
you know, they could have done it.
That
They could have made it work.
They probably paid Jonathan Fuller less money than Combs.
Oh, yeah. Well.
Although you could have had a body double until a facial reveal, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyway.
A facial reveal where he's just smiling.
Like Society?
No, like...
With the sunscreen?
Oh, yeah. He's just cum all over his face.
Oh, okay.
Thanks. In his eyes. He's smiling.
It's
I wanted
not
the
that
viewers...
kind of a podcast. Welcome to our newest patron. Yeah, I was gonna say this. I feel like this is more. When you bring up all these themes and missed opportunities, I'm like, this movie is really trying to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this could be a Hammer film, Hammer Studios, the British.
Oh, okay.
Film studio that like made most of the horror that came out before the 80s and after the Hays Code got so like all the first generation like Universal monsters,
right,
Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, all that shit, that was all Hollywood. And then Hays Code got enacted, and there really wasn't horror here, or it wasn't the same. You know, it shifted more towards sci-fi.
Yeah.
But then so all those movies with Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
This feels like it could have been a Hammer movie
Yeah,
from the 70s, early
Yeah,
70s
totally.
or late 60s or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it definitely didn't feel like a 90s movie at all.
No, it doesn't at
Not
all.
even
But
remotely.
what I was getting at is that it feels like it's trying to evoke all those sort of, like I said, there's got this. The setup is kind of like Dracula, where you're traveling to a foreign land to check out this piece of property, and you got Hunchback of Notre-Dame or Phantom of the Opera or that kind of shit. You know, like, there's all kinds of old. It's a very old story. I feel like as someone who's been locked in a castle.
Yeah, right, for sure. Would you recommend?
No,
no,
I would actually not. This one. This one was a bummer, and I don't think it's worth the. I can't quite do it.
Yeah.
I think it won't be anything. I mean,
I think watch the scene where Jeffrey Combs eats someone out. If that's all you can get, that's all you can.
Stop there.
Yeah. Honestly, if you stop there, it's fine. After that is when all the real, like, non-consensual sex murders happen. So
yeah.
After that, I would say if you want to give it a try, be warned that there is non-consensual booby eating and non-consensual cunnilingus, non-consensual behavior, child death, lots of ableism, sucky parents, just a few things that might be triggering for you. Cops are in it, so that sucks.
At least they're not American cops.
They're not American cops, but they do suck. They do get killed, though. Most of the cops die. So
I like the one cop who's like the only other one who gets any lines. None of them are in English.
Yeah.
But who's like the second?
Yeah.
Seems like the guy with the bushy mustache.
Yeah. Who's sleeping on the job?
Yeah, yeah.
Literally. Yeah.
She's like, "Hello, for water."
I know. I was like, what the fuck? Why can't they just go with you to get water? Like, why do you? I don't understand. Like that whole thing is
and
like.
where's Agnese?
Yeah.
Or is she dead?
Well, that is when they found her dead, and the lawyer chokes out Jeffrey Combs. Giuseppe Combs.
Giuseppe.
Yeah, I think this was a weird movie.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed because I had hopes.
Yeah.
I
actually thought it was going to be a lot worse than it was. So. And I was just stoked to see Jeffrey Combs eating pussy. So it was a win for me.
Yeah, if you want to see Combs and Crampton in something, watch From Beyond.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, watch From Beyond.
It's a lot more fun.
Yeah, and it has some eyeball sucking.
It has some eyeballs that do sucking.
Yeah. Reanimator too. They're both in Reanimator, so.
Oh, that's right.
I gotta rewatch that.
I've
seen that one time, and
I have such a
20 years ago.
Like I watched it by myself and it was fine, but I have such a bad association with it because I remember someone telling me that. So in Olympia, they used to do what was it called? I don't forget what they called it, but like for Halloween, they would show like 24 hours of movies. Just went all night.
Yeah.
In fact, what was it called? Anyway, I'm not going to remember. But
All Night Halloween Movie Fest?
Basically. And someone I know I never did it because of this, basically, but also because at the time I was not.
Mm-hmm.
Horror was like something I was definitely staying away from intentionally. During Reanimator, somebody in the audience was shouting, like, "Rape her, rape her."
Oh my
so I'm like,
God.
What?
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, too. It was like all ages.
Oh.
So I just assume, I think.
Oh my God. That's horrible.
I just assumed, I don't know if this is the case, but I assumed they were kids who were older, not all ages. I think they was,
Yeah, like 15 and up or something.
Whatever, or 17 or whatever R is, whatever the cutoff is.
Yeah.
I don't know if they enforced that, but I just assumed it was a thing where young folks would come because they're just like, I'm going to be at the theater all night, Mom.
Yeah.
Not to be ageist and blame the young people.
But young people suck.
For that, but I just always assumed it
Yeah,
was like late teens.
Yeah.
That sounds like late teenage behavior to me. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so I remember that more than I remember watching the movie by myself.
That's
I think when I
fair.
finally watched it, I was like, "Oh, this isn't bad."
Yeah.
But-
Yeah. I think like I watched it probably close to 20 years ago. I watched it probably like 19 when I was like 19 or 20, and I saw it one time, and I was like, this was before I got more into horror, like the horror that I'm into now, where I'm like, yeah, I want to see ridiculous. I was like, this isn't believable. This isn't sexy. He's reanimating a cat. Like, I don't fucking give a shit. You know, and also,
I wanted to see a Chris Nolan reanimator because the story.
you just want to see how much it sucks.
Yeah.
How much he can make it suck.
Yes, but also because practical effects and because the Lovecraft story or book or whatever it is set during World War I. So I want to see some trench warfare.
Oh my god.
I want to see James Whale's gay doughboy lover in Barbed Wire, and then Jeffrey Combs.
And Martin Donovan.
Scissoring? No.
Tenet.
Oh.
Right? That's Christopher Nolan, right? Tenet?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Wait. It is? Is that right?
Right? Yeah. He did the Batmans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's who it
Okay.
is.
I forget that he did
Tenet.
the Batmans and then Inception and
Tenet. Still will never get over the fact that what we have to release that to the patrons. Me drunkenly
They have to demand
going the fuck off on Tenet for 45 fucking minutes and saying that I don't want men to make sci-fi movies. Cis men. Yeah, let us know in the comments if you want to hear that as a patron.
Get at us.
Yeah, email us at
Randall.
Let us know.
Screaming Mad Randy.
Oh my god, yeah.
Become a patron and you'll get a nickname.
What's
Our latest patron, Sven Grammersdorf.
Sven Grammersdorf is true.
Let's see. Matthew Hingejaw.
Hengejaw. Mm-hmm.
Hingejaw.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Hengejaw.
I was just articulating.
Okay.
Karthik probably doesn't need any more nicknames.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's probably.
The
I'm just
Cockerella
assuming
himself.
because of racism that he.
Oh,
grew up
that's fair.
hating
That's fair.
Being called all kinds of.
Right. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Not to out him as a non-white person, but. Whoops.
I still like I edited an image of him with just his name, but all the vowels of his name being X's.
Oh, that's right. Just to non-binary it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this movie definitely settles for me. I prefer Brian Usna over Stuart Gordon.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, we'll see if we once we get around to watching Reanimator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again.
Only
But,
two
I
more.
mean, it's going to be hard to beat From Beyond, Society, Necronomicon.
Mm-hmm.
Those are already great by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't have to overcome a castle freak. So,
Yeah. No, you're right.
Gordon, sorry, bro. I don't know if I can trust you as a fisherman.
Making my way downtown, walking first, faces pass and I'm homebound. Staring blankly ahead, just making my way through the crowd. And I need you, and I miss you, and now I wonder if I could fall into the sky. Do you think time would pass me by? 'Cause you know I'd walk 1,000 miles if I could just see you tonight.
Giuseppe.